I'm not going to conjecture on what's on people's minds and what their motivations are. I'm simply saying that there's a lot of, the situation is not very clear.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens.
My message is clear. Don't harm my city. Don't harm my state.
She came after me. They're coming after the Attorney General. They're coming after a candidate for mayor. So the question is, when will Pam Bondi stop politicizing the Department of Justice and just do their jobs? There are a lot of people out there who are committing crimes.
And I don't know if these people just continue to think that they are above the law and that what they do is just never going to get found out. But this should be a really big wake-up call to any other Democrats who have some skeletons in their closet that someone's coming from you and it's going to be found out.
Sam Antar, he's bringing more allegations, y'all. This time he's saying how Letitia James paid the governor's husband's law firm and got a $10 million legal shield in return. Now, y'all may remember that the legislature of the state of New York included in their budget a $10 million set aside for any state officials that are targeted by legal action. Now, you would think that this would have to do with legal action that has to do maybe with your official position or your official capacity, right? But apparently they're going to allow Letitia James to use this $10 million of public funds to defend against private, not public, but private criminal allegations and accusations, y'all. That's what it's looking like. And here Antar says that there may have been some kind of quid pro quo involved. Let's take a look. Antar says that the records show for 14 months, David Polk, now employer of William Hochul, had a dormant $325,000 contract with James's office. Zero in payments and nothing moved. Then in January 2024, Governor Hochul's husband joined Davis Polk's white-collar defense unit. 1 month later, the expired contract was filed or approved. 401 days after it began, 37 days after it expired. By April 30th, 2024, the payments began. $231,000 first payment, $483,404 total by June 2025 from James's office alone. So you're talking about from April 30th until June. So that'd be about maximum, a month and a half. Talking about over $483,000.
The $483,000 question. How James directed funds to the governor's husband's firm before her $10 million shield. 24 hours. That's how long it took between The Guardian reporting that a federal grand jury had been impaneled in Virginia to investigate New York Attorney General Letitia James, and the NY Post revealing that Governor Kathy Hochul had secured a $10 million taxpayer-funded legal defense shield, and sources confirming the FBI had opened a formal criminal investigation into James. For 2 decades, James built her career prosecuting financial fraud. She secured a $355 million judgment against Donald Trump for property misrepresentations. She declared no one is above the law. But when these federal investigations escalated in May, the pattern was already clear. Over the prior year, the Attorney General had begun channeling taxpayer funds to the firm employing the governor's husband. By the time Hochul approved a $10 million legal shield for James, those payments were ongoing and would ultimately total $483. 404. The numbers tell the story. 14 months. How long Davis Polk Wardwell went without receiving a single payment from the Attorney General's office, despite having a $325,000 contract. 4 months. How long after the governor's husband joined Davis Polk's white-collar defense unit before the first payment finally arrived. $231,644. 16 months. How long payments flowed to the governor's husband's firm before James needed federal protection. 12 days after the FBI investigation was confirmed, Hochul was standing before reporters, her voice rising. Hell yeah. Federal prosecutors were targeting Democrats. This is the story of what the public records reveal about power protecting power in New York. Timeline, key events, Feb 1, 2023, Davis Polk contract begins, contract C106569, $325,000. No payments flow for 14 months. Jan 2, 2024, William Hochul joins Davis Polk, 946 in 2024. Governor's husband enters white-collar defense unit. Jan 31, 2024, contract C106569 expires. No visible authority for continued payments. Mar 8, 2024, expired contract approved filed 37 days after expiration. Unusual delay. APR 30, 2024, first AG payment to Davis Polk, $231,604, 4 months after William Hochul joined. AUG 23, 2024, contract amended, $250,000, extends to Jan 2026, total value now $575,000. DEC 17, 2024, our investigative reporting begins on James's financial issues, campaign spending, financial disclosures question. Mar 18, 2025, Gilbert publishes hemp ineligibility article. Brooklyn property mortgage fraud exposed. Mar 18, 2025. Our investigation exposes handwritten mortgage modifications, evidence of retroactive document changes to circumvent federal lending rules. APR 1, 2025. Virginia residency declaration exposed James's false principal residence claim revealed. APR 14, 2025, FHFA criminal referral to DOJ. Federal agency accuses James of falsifying documents.
April 18, 2025, James's office calls allegations baseless on social media, official AG accounts used for personal defense. May 8, 2025, Guardian reports federal grand jury impaneled in Virginia. Investigation escalates to criminal proceedings. May 8, 2025, NY Post reports FBI investigation in Northern District.
Multi-pronged federal investigation confirmed. May 8, 2025, Hochul's budget passes with $10 legal defense fund for employees facing federal retaliation. May 23rd, 25, Hochul. Hell yeah, investigations are political.
Public defense of federal investigation target.
So here Antar says it began with a contract. Let's take a look at it. All right, so this is probably going to be on the thumbnail, y'all, this contract. Antar says it began with a contract. On February 1st, 2023, Davis Polk and Wardell, one of Manhattan's most prestigious law firms, entered into a contract with the New York Attorney General's office, valued at $325,000. The duration was 1 year. For 14 months, the Attorney General's office made no payments to Davis Polk under the contract. So no payments went out, and apparently the contract would have expired. This wasn't indicative of broader financial constraints. From October 2021 through December 31st, 2024, Davis Polk had collected $7.12 million from the legislature and assembly alone, all before the governor's husband joined them. All right, y'all, so this is the setup. Davis Polk is this law firm. They're getting paid by the state, which is totally fine, right? They're getting paid by the state to do legal work, which is fine. But at this point, the governor's husband did not work for Davis Polk. So they have this contract with Letitia James's office. It's for $325,000. No payments have gone out and the contract expires. Okay. But during this time frame, the governor's husband does not work for Davis Polk. The Attorney General's office remained the sole holdout. Month after month, no payments flowed to Davis Polk, okay? So they have this contract. Maybe they don't need their services, and it's for 1 year, $325,000. They being the Attorney General's office, Letitia James's office, they don't do anything with the contract. So they apparently never require or request any work from this law firm. On January 2nd, 2024, William Hochul Jr. walked into Davis Polk's Manhattan offices for his first day of work. The governor's husband had left his position at Delaware North for a prestigious role in the firm's white-collar defense and investigations unit. His compensation was nearly $1 million during 2024. His specialty, defending clients against federal criminal investigations. What happens next raises questions about basic government accountability. State contracting rules require prompt filing of agreements, But this contract sat unfiled for 401 days after it began, including 37 days after the contract had expired. This delay is extraordinary. Most government contracts are filed immediately or within days of execution. When it finally surfaced on March 8, 2024, state records offered no explanation for the delay. According to state comptroller definitions, this transaction approved/file date represents the date the transaction was approved by the comptroller's office or the date that the state authority contract was filed with the office of the state comptroller. So this is where it gets fishy, y'all. After 14 months without any payments, the Attorney General's office finally issued the first payment to Davis Polk, $231,644, 4 months after William Hochul joined Davis Polk. This was the beginning. Over the following months, payments continued to flow, bringing the grand total to $483,404. The firm that had received no payments from the Attorney General's office for over a year was suddenly receiving substantial funds from that office. James was establishing a financial relationship. This is the claim, right? This was the claim that James was establishing a financial relationship that benefited the governor's family. All right, y'all. Now, this seems to be where, so now, y'all, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it is quite long, right? But it seems to be that here Antar is making a bit of a I scratch your back, you scratch my back, right? We had this contract that was open with Davis Polk. We didn't use it. We didn't need it. $325,000 just sat there dormant. We didn't do anything. Oh, now the governor's husband works there. Y'all, let's find something for them to do. Let's get that money in their hands now, right? That's going to benefit the governor's family because it benefits her husband. That's the case that Antar is making here, okay? And what happens when, on the flip side, a year later, Letitia James is facing an investigation, a criminal investigation, no less, and she's going to have substantial legal expenditures out of her personal, y'all, her personal pocketbook. Well, here we have this $10 million provision put into the state budget, which Letitia James can then presumably get her grubbies on, right? And say, oh, okay, well, they're only coming after me because of my official capacity. So let me get my grubbies on that 10 million so that I can pay for my defense. That's the picture that's being painted here, y'all. Now, again, this is all new information. Sam Antar, this guy is, I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. Let's just put it like that.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.